My name is Mary Njambi Koikai, famously known as Fire Mama Njambi, and I am a creative entrepreneur. I am an endometriosis survivor, and all things art, all things music, all things reggae. I own a sound system. I am a reggae MC, famously known as the Reggae MC. Yes, the return of the Empress herself. And I recently vied for the Dagoretti South Member of Parliament seat. I'm an aspiring politician, and I wouldn't call myself a politician, I'm a leader. I aspire to lead my people to greater heights in order to realize developmental projects in our community.
You know, say I go by the name of Njambi Koikai, aka Fire Mama Njambi. But you know, say the baddest, the wickedest.
To me, it's such a blessing that I'm able to connect with my people, people who understand what I do and people who appreciate what I do. The reggae music comes from the ghetto. I come from the ghetto, yeah? And I connect with the people on that level. What you'd call kienyeji is what I am. Mini dem kienyeji, mini dem wamta, you know? But I speak a language of the people, and it's because I was raised by the people. I was raised in that community. I was raised in that, setting. So I understand the struggles that people go through, and I understand when people overcome challenges. And that's one of the things we need to highlight more when we, when we get such platforms. For example, you don't get to see people like me in the hood. I was on TV as a TV news anchor, senior TV news anchor. I was on radio. I, morphed into reggae. I'd been doing it all the time while I was on TV. You don't get to see people who've gone to those levels. So for me, it's such a breakthrough thing in my community, and people appreciate it, people love it, and people are like, yo, Njambini wetu, I've done 2 shows at the Mamboleo Stadium in Kisumu. I still don't believe that, we actually took it to the stadium. That stuff politicians do, and Pastor Ezekiel. Pastor Ezekiel, he's the one who filled Kasarani. So, and people like Prophet War, they're the ones who fill stadiums. And my mom was telling me, hey, now I think people should just be comparing me to those people, It was, to me, the love was amazing. And I just love when people come and they're filled with good vibes, and they're blessed, their hearts are blessed, and they feel like a load has been lifted up. And it's kind of a spiritual process for me, and I really thank God for the opportunity, because I look at myself as a testimony, and people from the hood look at me as that testimony, that girl who's overcome. And so we follow Njambi because we believe Njambi didn't give up. If Njambi didn't give up, Atami Sita give up. Evo. To an area known as Lavington Brown, or Kawangware if you like, or as we know it, Ungwaro. And that became my home. The driving factor for me to vie for the MP seat, which is the Member of Parliament seat for Dagoretti South, was I was born in that community, I was raised in that community, so I understand the challenges firsthand better than anyone else who's come from another area to come and seek for representation. So I vied in that community because I understood the challenges. I also wanted to get into politics to be able to effect change in policy and advocacy, as well as, for me, my main goal was to effect change and policy in the healthcare system, because I've been through the healthcare system, the Kenyan healthcare system, which has so many issues, systemic structure and how our healthcare system rolls. So I wanted to be the change that I wanted to see, and also offer ideas and creative opportunities for the creative arts, the youth, and what we can be able to do to create more employment for young people through the arts, because we forget so much about the arts and sports. It's such a billion-dollar industry today, and I didn't get the opportunity to be in Parliament. I came in fourth. I was an independent candidate, and I'm very proud of myself and all the people who voted for me as a first-timer. So I'm grateful. I know we'll do it better next time. I was finally diagnosed with thoracic endometriosis adenomyosis stage 4. First of all, I would like to be able to raise more awareness on this disease through schools, colleges, and the media as well, because it's a disease that's affecting 1 in 10 women. Over 100 million women worldwide are suffering from this disease. We don't have the statistics about the African continent yet. We don't even have a single excision specialist. So excision is the gold standard of treatment of endometriosis. Can you imagine a whole continent without an excision specialist? What does that mean for African women? That we continue to suffer in silence, and women are dying in huge numbers because of this disease. Endometriosis is actually the lead cause of cervical cancer. We don't address that. So we need to talk about these issues. And endometriosis is affecting serious demographics from the ages of 9 to past menopause. Young girls are starting to menstruate at the age of 9. They get endometriosis at the onset of their period, and they have to live with it for the next decade. then we are cutting short lives, we are cutting off dreams and affecting their careers and school as well. I have a lot of work in terms of raising awareness, work with the Ministry of Health to see how we can be able to get our gynecologists trained to be specialists in excision, because that is the gold standard of treatment. That is the surgery I had to go for. In the US, it's expensive, it's inaccessible, and we need to address those issues. Fortunately, the economic status of our people can only allow them to access a certain lifestyle. And so those are the only things that people can afford. Like if I told you today, a packet of unga is going for more than 200 bob, right? Just a few years ago, 200 bob could buy you unga, tomatoes, mboga, nyama, Now, it's a packet of unga alone. And there are people who are paid 200 bob a day. How do you expect families to be fed? How do you expect to have healthy people? How do we expect to nourish people? And then we talk about importing food. Are we even considering the health of our people? Are we considering that, there's so many lifestyle diseases now? Yeah. And it's unfortunate that most of this food ends up in the ghettos. Yeah. You go and buy garlic today, you go to the mama mboga and she's telling you, kuna garlic imetoka nje, na ile garlic yetu unataka gani, Very, very sad. Because we are a nation that can sustain itself when it comes to food security. We can do it. We've done it before. We have the capacity. But because of corruption and because of capitalism and people who are, making money off it and profiting off this mess, we end up being in this position. Children are being born with lifestyle diseases because of the food we're consuming. If we talk about food, we say, and there's a Rasta saying that says, let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. And Mark reminded me of that earlier on. So whatever you eat, let it be wholesome to your body, let it be nutritious to your body. But if you can't access it, then what? So our people don't have a choice, and I totally understand that's where we come from. It saddens me. But my experience with eating out in Nairobi, I prefer to eat healthy stuff because of my health issues as well, and also just to, manage my health. I prefer to eat healthy stuff, and most of the times I prefer eating at home and cooking at home. But yeah, I'm not a very good eater, but I hope this year I'll be able to make those changes. At least I can add a few kilos. But yeah, and I like good food.
Fashion is one of those things that you cannot ignore, whether you like it or not. And lucky for us, as much as it's been struggling in Nairobi and of course in Kenya, there are spaces that have come together to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. Believe me when I say there is hope. If you don't believe me, you're about to see what I mean. Let's go. Made in Kenya, very important. I am extremely excited to be here, of course, with Mvo. For the people who don't know you, please introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, what you do, and what you are about. Go.
My name is Mvo Wanje. I'm a fashion designer, all-around creative and lover of things artistic. I currently creative direct and run a brand called Bonkers Nairobi, which has existed for the past 12 years. And we also run a streetwear store called Pamba Nairobi, located at Ember Creatives in Lavington. I'm trying to stock up more than just my brand.
Yeah.
As a way to kind of like leverage each other's communities into growing this number of people consuming streetwear. Mm-hmm. So this brand is called Fundi Makasi.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, good. Look at that. Hold on. That is nice. I look like Tyler in this. Oh, Ira Star if I made it a bit shorter. So one of the things that actually made me want to do this interview, and we've spoken about this before, is that you have been here for a very long time. For a lot of people who want to engage in the industry, they think they'll do a year or two and then after that they give up. Well, please, tell us about that journey because someone needs to hear about this.
Why I started is because I've always had a love for fashion, for clothing. that love came from me listening to hip hop, and also just like going through the Source magazine when I was a kid. The Source magazine. So that's really what inspired the aesthetics that you see under my brand and under the things that I design. Okay, so all this is like different brands. So this guy is from Uganda. His brand is called Pitch Black.
Okay.
He also does the upcycle thing, but then his attention to detail is out of this world, because you can't tell this jacket is upcycled.
So I like that point that you made about the Source magazine. And I was watching this video where Kobe and Kendrick were sitting together. And so, you know, basketball and rap go hand in hand. And so someone asked Kobe, if you were to pick a rapper who's like you, who would you pick? And Kobe was like, obviously Kendrick. So who would you say, as a fashion designer, is what rapper, or rather what cultural influence would you say represents your brand?
I love ODB.
Yeah! Party people all around the town. It's the ODB, kid.
ODB, baby, I got the money. What is it? What is the? I don't know the lyrics. Let me just shut up. Go ahead.
Yeah, from Wu-Tang, because his style is unorthodox. There's never a time you're gonna find him and he's gonna like go the mainstream way. And so that's how I like to approach design. It's like, what languages can I use that people already understand, but then like flip it completely. Yeah, so I love ODB.
Oh no, this is the one that's really caught my eye. I really like this one. Oh my God, look at that. One of the things that I really loved when I walked in, I saw something really beautiful, and you're going to show us that just in a minute. You just started designing women's wear. Please tell us about that.
Over the past few years, I've been pondering over this thought of doing a women's wear collection. When I came into this year, it was like, I need to transition into a new space. What does that space look like? And so that's when we started to conceptualize Manziwa Nairobi. Manziwa Nairobi is a collection speaking about 3 different wardrobes, 3 different archetypes, so 3 different women in Nairobi. So there's the baddie, there's the lover girl, and there's the hippie girl. And so over the next 6 months, we're gonna be exploring these 3 wardrobes and what this could look like under the subgenre of streetwear.
This is something that has stood out for me, because when I was walking in, this is what I found at the front. And this is when we started talking about the female, rather the women's wear.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite piece.
So this is a double-sided skirt. The idea is you could wear it both front and back, with the pocket option either being front or behind.
Bunkers! I see, so Aaliyah, right? So you think it's what, Tommy Hilfiger?
So I don't stand Tommy as a designer. He just happened to be in the culture at the right time, at the right place at the right time. So I'd shout out people like Fubu before I'd shout out Tommy. I'd shout out South Pole.
What?
I'd shout out South Pole before I speak about Tommy, because they represented culture. He was a culture vulture for the most part, if you ask me. But designers that I love out there is like Takashi Murakami, because he's like iconic in the way he thinks and the way he executes.
Okay, so you've talked about Takashi Murakami. Excuse me if I'm wrong, I never knew he designs clothes. I've always known him as like a painter and an artist, you know. Graduation, hey. So please expand on that.
So he's doubled across like the whole space of design, and that's how I look at myself as well. I'm a multifaceted designer where give me the project, I'll execute it from a design perspective, because that's my strength. And so when looking at Murakami, looking at Virgil, looking at Salehe, Bambury, you see their languages being applied in multiple spaces. And I'd like for us to be able to explore multiple spaces, don't box people into genres.
So, like we've said, you've been here for 12 years, and I have to ask you, what does the next 12 years hold?
The next 12 years for me looks like making African streetwear accessible. Looks like moving fashion from an elitist point of view or an elitist place of consumption to like everyone's wearing made in Kenya, made in Africa clothing. At this point, the price point almost kind of alienates a certain group of people. And so my thoughts is like, how do we either one, expand the market to the place where the price points can drop lower? That's actually all I care about. There's no two, it's one.
Yeah, it's time for us to go. But you see, these are blessings because of all the good stuff that I've seen. See ya!